Hi, welcome back to section 11.5. Next thing we're going to look at is projectile problems. And really this could work for anything that you're given a formula for. But we're specifically going to look at projectiles. For example 4 says a ball is projected upward from the ground. So just projectile is like another word for launched or thrown or something like that. Its distance in feet from the ground at t seconds is, so we have this nice little equation, s of t equals negative 16t squared plus 64t. So there's our equation that we're starting out with. T is the time in seconds, and s of t is the distance. Okay, so if it helps you a little bit, s of t is the distance. It's in feet. And t is the time, and the time is measured in seconds. So that's basically what we start out with. It says, at what times will the ball be 32 feet from the ground? So what they just gave us is that 32 feet from the ground would be the distance. So they gave us an s of t, so s of t is 32 feet. And it's asked at what time, so we're going to solve for t. All right. So let's use our equation, let's substitute in what we know, and let's solve for what we don't know. So I'm going to put the 32 in for s of t since it's the distance. So 32 equals negative 16t squared plus 64t. And we're going to solve for t. It is a quadratic. Notice that the highest exponent is a 2, it's t squared. So let's go ahead and get everything on one side so that it's in standard form. So if I subtract 32 from both sides, I'll have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 64t minus 32. If you'd like to make your life a little bit easier, a little bit simpler, all of these terms are divisible by 16, and you could even divide by negative 16 if you'd like. Of course, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you need to do to both sides so that it stays in balance, but 0 divided by negative 16 is just 0. Negative 16 divided by negative 16 is 1. We just have a t squared. 64 divided by negative 16 is negative 4, so we'll have a negative 4t. And negative 32 divided by negative 16 is a positive 2. All right, this one, it doesn't factor nicely. I'm sorry about that. But that's okay. We have other methods if it doesn't factor. So how about we try the quadratic formula? So the quadratic formula, we'd have the opposite of b, so that would be positive 4, plus or minus the square root, b squared, so negative 4 squared is 16, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 2, and it's all over 2a, 2 times 1 is 2. And then let's do some simplifying. 4 times 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. So we've got 16 minus 8 underneath that square root. And 16 minus 8 is 8, so we've got 4 plus or minus the square root of 8 over 2. And I did not tell you what kind of format to do, so I'll just show you both. So if you want it in the exact form, what you would do is you would simplify. So 8 is 4 times 2, 4 is 2 times 2. So we can simplify that radical, pull out a 2 because we have a pair of 2's, and then this 2 would be underneath. So that would be 2 square root of 2 in simplest form. So we've got 4 plus or minus 2 radical 2 all over 2. And everything actually divides nicely by 2, so why not? 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 would be 1. So it would be 1 square root of 2. So 2 plus or minus the square root of 2, those would be your 2 times in the exact form. Okay? If you want an approximation, a decimal approximation, there's honestly no reason to simplify radicals. I would just do it from here. I'd do 4 plus the square root of 8, and then take that answer and divide by 2. And you get about 3.41 when you do that. If you do 4 minus the square root of 8, and then take that answer and divide by 2, you're going to get 0.59 approximately. And of course our time's in seconds. I could put that down here as well. And so that would be your approximation, because those decimals, they keep going for forever without any kind of repetition or patterns. But there's at least a hundredths place, 2 decimal places for those. Okay, so if you need approximate, you can, use your calculator and get approximate answers. If you want the exact answer, you simplify your radical and simplify from there. Now it's your turn. You get to try one and show me how much you've learned.